We've got some crispy skin. What's up everybody, it's Drew Wilkins with Swine and Bovine Barbecue, and in this video we're making some skin on direct heat pork belly burn ends. Let's get going. What we have here is some nice skin on pork belly. I get this at Costco Business Center locally here in Dallas. If you can't find it, there's probably some online purveyors that will sell it to you. But we're gonna cut this into smaller sections. We're gonna go with this middle piece right here for the burnt ends. I'm not gonna be cooking all this today, so we're gonna start over here. Slice it off. Come over here. Nice straight cut. And this nice even centerpiece is what we're gonna make our burnt ends from. And I know there's some debate about whether pork belly can be called a burnt end or whatnot. Call them whatever you want. Call them pork belly bites. I don't care. I'm just hoping they turn out delicious. For ours, we're gonna go with, I don't know, about 1.5 inch strips. So we're gonna cut these down into those strips. Then move it sideways. Cut them like this. Our seasoning, just like most things we do for direct heat, is gonna be simple. 16 mesh coarse black pepper and diamond crystal kosher salt. So one thing we don't want to do is we don't want to get much seasoning on this skin. No seasoning on the skin if we can avoid it, but that might be unavoidable. We're going to coat it in salt, much like we did in the best barbecue sandwich I've ever had video, because we're going to cook these belly side down on the pit. That's going to give us great color, but we're going to coat the top with iodized table salt, just cheap Morton's table salt. That will pull moisture out of the skin, allowing it to dry up, and when we turn it over during the cooking process, it'll get nice and crispy for us. So we don't want to get really any seasoning on that. We want to protect the integrity of the skin as well as the color. So we're going to go pretty heavy with some just coarse black pepper and kosher salt all over the top and the sides of these. Got these all seasoned up. Made quite a bit of mess. Not the easiest thing to do, trying to avoid getting seasoning on one side. Stopped worrying about it towards the end. We can just wipe it off, no big deal. These are gonna go inside, hang out, so let's go fire up the pit. Chud box is cruising along at 300 degrees, so let's get our meat on. Now that our meat is on, we're going to go on with just some table salt, heavily coating the top layer of this skin. You want to be careful when doing this. We don't want to season the sides too much, so be pretty careful. But we did a decent job cubing these, so we should be able to go pretty liberal without nailing them. But going to go about that much. And as this pork belly cooks, the moisture will draw out. That salt will turn firm. And by the time it's turned to flip these, we'll be able to slide it off. Skin will be clean. We'll get some crispy pork belly. So the purpose of this salt is not to season the meat. This is just going to pull moisture out of the skin. Outside of some granules bouncing off the top of the skin and hitting the side of this pork belly, it's not going to add any seasoning to the actual meat itself. Sole purpose, dry out the skin. That way, once it's time to flip it, put it cold side down, it'll get nice and crispy. All right, after a decent amount of time, our pork belly skin is sufficiently coated, so we're gonna shut this down, let these go until our pork belly has some nice color. And then we're gonna wipe the salt off, flip them, and let that skin crisp up. Our pork belly burn ends have some fantastic color on the bottom. The salt did its job, kept it clean, but they're cooking incredibly fast. These are about 185, 190 degrees right now, which they'll obviously be nuked if we try and crisp the skin. We're going to pull them off. So we'll get rid of the salt, pull them off, let them rest on a wire rack till they come down to about probably 140-ish. Then we'll put them back on skin side down in order to crisp up the skin. The lid's been open for a bit. We're getting some flare-ups. I'm gonna get these off. While our belly cools, let's make a mop sauce. Start off with half a stick of butter. Butter is melted. We're going in with half an onion sliced up. We're also going to go in with a whole jalapeno sliced up. Onion softened up, so we're going to go in with some garlic and then a sliced up lemon. We're going to go in with some apple cider vinegar and the same amount of white vinegar. A healthy amount of Worcestershire, dried mustard powder, some paprika, coarse black pepper, Couple pinches of salt and some brown sugar. Mix it all up, let everything come together, and our mop sauce is done. Pit's running about 375. Our pork belly burnt ends cooled off to about 115-ish, which I'm fine with. So we are gonna go skin side down with these right on the pit. We're gonna let these go for 5 minutes, then we're gonna start hitting them with our mop sauce. Let them get nice and flavorful with that mop. They've already got great caramelization on the top side. And as we're mopping, we're gonna let that skin get nice and crispy. When they're tender and the skin's crispy, we'll pull them. 5 minutes later, it's time to mop. Ooh, we got a little pop right there. Oh yeah, that skin is getting crispy. Now we're just gonna mop every single one of these. All right, shut it down, let them keep going. A few mops later, pork belly is nice and tender, and we've got some crispy skin. I'm gonna pull these off, let them rest, then we'll dig in. That's some crispy skin pork belly burnt ends. The work was done, and honestly, outside of salting the tops of every single one of these and not trying to splash it all over the sides, wasn't that hard at all. Pretty simple cook, did not take long. It was 45 minutes from the start of when I put them on to when I pulled them. Now granted, I was running a little hot, a little heavy-handed with the charcoal, between 350 and 375, probably the entire time. So, was running hot, but I mean, I'm not upset at all with these results. Got some great caramelization on the bottom, nice crispy skin up top. Let's see how these things taste. I'm gonna cut this in half. Juicy pork belly. We've already done all the slicing, we've already done all the cutting. Only thing left to do is eat it, so cheers. That is delicious. It's got that crunch that you love from crispy skin pork belly. The mop sauce tastes fantastic on it. It's just one hell of a bite. It's got that direct heat flavor. I only mopped them 3 times, so I didn't go 5 minutes every time. I only mopped them 3 times because I was worried about overwhelming the flavor a little bit, but also it kind of drips around the edges and can make the top of the pork belly, or the skin side of the pork belly, look pretty gnarly. I would probably mop it a few more times next time, and I would also go with a 1 part pepper to a 1/2 part salt. Whether or not you do your damnedest to not get any salt on the sides of the pork belly, it's gonna happen when you're putting it on the skin, and a little bit too much salt. And I'd mop it a few more times, and you can switch up that mop. Thin out some barbecue sauce and put it on towards the very end if you want a more traditional sweet sticky style pork belly burn end with the crunchy skin. I love that direct heat mop sauce. That originated from Chud's Barbecue. I put a few little twists on it since then, but wholly it's pretty much his recipe. So, and the skin is not too crunchy. I like to cut it in half into little bite-sized pieces. If you want to take the whole thing in, by all means, but really good. Yeah, that's phenomenal. So just 2 to 1 pepper to salt. Don't go 50-50 mix like I did, because you'll inherently get more salt on it through the mop sauce. And even though we tried not to, when we were putting salt on the skin, we got it on there too. So make those adjustments, maybe mop it 1 or 2 more times, or put some barbecue sauce in it. And you could even dunk these in. I would leave the skin dry up top, but find a little dunk, get you a Yeti coffee cup or something like that, drop it in, pull it out. You can have a more traditional one, but definitely gonna be making these again. These would be great for a crowd. Just get them like this, cut them in half, put some toothpicks out, you got yourself a nice little appetizer. That's gonna do it for this one though. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you wanna see more videos like this, please hit that subscribe button. If you have any ideas on what you wanna see me cook next, or how these could be better, please leave it in the comments below. But as always, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.